she is not a well person. Like, the world is at my feet. Ha ha ha. This is so fun. This is where my children's grandmother died. Good times. Let me put this online.
Megyn Kelly has blasted Meghan Markle as not a well person, as even the New York Times turns on Prince Harry over his African Parks charity disaster. But don't worry, nothing to see here. We're still arriving in New York City on the day that Donald Trump basically just single-handedly delivered world peace. The Sussexes are going to claim they are the humanitarian of the years. I mean, maybe we should just laugh. Maybe we should just laugh. And I'm sure we will be doing a lot of laughing today because I am so excited. The Sidley Twins are back on Outspoken. Stephanie and Nancy. Where to start? Well, look, let's first look at this takedown from Megyn Kelly, which has got to hurt.
Meghan Markle, she is not a well person. She was over in Paris for the Balenciaga fashion show, and she filmed herself going by the location where Princess Diana died. And here's the video. Her feet are up in the car. She's having a grand old time. She's showing you out the window where she is. And then you see her naked feet crisscrossed in front of her, like, the world is at my feet. Ha ha ha. This is so fun. This is where my children's grandmother died. Good times. Let me put this online.
Stephanie, Nancy, it's sort of unbelievable. I mean, you've got to have so much fun, don't you, in this type of context, given everything that is happening, not just in America, but in the Middle East today, being such grifters that you'll still go ahead and accept a made-up Humanitarian of the Year award.
Shame on Project Healthy Minds for letting them do it. But I don't expect a lot from them. We did a deep dive on them, and they're just full of tech people and entertainment people, mostly NBC Universal. So it is a pay to play. So I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised.
Let's just get to the outrage. I'm sorry.
Yes.
My sister is being very diplomatic here. No, this is insane. Okay.
It is.
I'm sorry. I mean, we have done 6 lives in a row over this, and
The shock
has not worn off of me at any point. This woman who I trace back, she always puts music in her videos, had us listen to the clanking of the glasses in the car, the wind that was coming in from the window. She wanted us to hear everything that Princess Diana went through. And stop, Nancy. I get so upset over this. I'm sorry, Dan. She wanted us to hear every second before she went over to that location.
She was headed to the lights you saw when she put her feet up. We ran through Google Earth. I mean, we know for a fact it was the Pont de la Mont Bridge. Her hotel is 10-minute walking distance from the Flame of Liberty. She knew exactly where she was. There's no debate here. There's nothing. And what the heck is Marcus Anderson doing in the front row of a Balenciaga show?
Well, he's clearly mortified with her at that moment too. But no, I just think, just back to what you're saying, I think you are completely correct, because this was so choreographed. And that's why I think Megyn Kelly is actually completely right to say this is just not a wild woman now, right? Yes, there's an evil, but there's also something quite mentally deranged about this, because the choreography had absolutely been thought through. It was a Saturday night, ladies. Diana was driving through the streets of Paris on a Saturday night just before she died. It was the big exit from the hotel with the paparazzi. She was hoping for a car chase. I mean, this is not a well woman. I think we
Dan,
can
she
fundamentally
put
say that.
herself- She put herself on Instagram in real time.
Mhm.
Nobody does that unless you want people to know your location and where you are at that exact moment. She left the hotel. She could have taken the back entrance to go to the Sugar restaurant. She didn't. She wanted Paps to follow her. They didn't play her game. She was hoping that she would catch a glimpse of them.
A motorcycle.
A bike, something when she was going over the Alexandria Bridge. Didn't happen. She was very disappointed, probably, but she still needed to get that dig in. Okay. So anybody who says that she didn't know where she was going, okay, let's give her the benefit of the doubt for 1 second. Let's say she wasn't close to any of the landmarks that Princess Diana tragically died at. She's still driving around Paris at night in a moving vehicle.
And we can hear the sounds. Put music behind it.
Which she always does, as you quite rightly point out, because she doesn't want us using her videos usually.
Mhm.
So it's a copyright play, isn't it?
Yes.
But in this case,
she wants us to know.
100%, 100%. And of course, you've got that context where they're walking into the Humanitarian of the Year awards, but then you've also got the context that even New York chattering classes, right, which are the people who are at this event, cannot ignore what is going on in Africa with Prince Harry, a second charity collapse. The New York Times, and remember, for a long time, they were absolutely allied. You know, the Grey Lady was allied to the Sussexes. Meghan even announced her so-called miscarriage within its pages. But as Tori Bakahai pointed out, this line from the New York Times article, the latest friction casts another shadow over the philanthropic efforts of the prince. And he says, dumb nuts Harry now being monstered by the once supportive New York Times. About time. And it is about time. But how extraordinary is this? That again, in the context of picking up a Humanitarian of the Year award, the New York Times are finally realizing, actually, this guy is a disaster area when it comes to charity. His wife might be a disaster tourist, but he is a disaster when it comes to charity, especially African charity, because he doesn't actually give a damn. For years and years and years, he used Africa because it was good for his PR. Big news, Outspoken is now available as a podcast too. So please do subscribe wherever you get yours, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you rate and review. I'll take 5 stars, if you may.
Well, and also he loved the continent because that was the love of his life, was live there, and that's where she was from. And she protected him whenever he went there. She didn't, take pictures and post them on Instagram the way Meghan did. And so he loves that continent.
Referring to Chelsea Davy.
Chelsea Davy, I apologize. Yes, Chelsea Davy. And I think what is going on is we're just starting to realize, or the rest of the world is starting to realize what we've known for a long time, especially you, Dan, is that Harry's lazy and he just doesn't want to work. And he's bad at this.
I think people are finally realizing that Harry is no longer going to get help from his daddy and his grandma. He's going to have to start taking accountability for this bad behavior. He's going to have to start working for his supper. He doesn't want that. He wants to live in a bunker playing video games all day. That's his thing. But I mean, the fact that the government of Chad has cut ties with this guy over, let's go over a few things. The resurgence of poaching. Wow. The lack of investment, the breach of agreement, and the disrespectful attitude.
But how come he never comes out and addresses this? How come he'll come out and address like a meeting that he had with his dad saying, oh no, it wasn't a rush meeting. He comes out right away. But yet this story with African parks has been going on for, I want to say, a couple of years now.
We're giving this guy, and I say we're, I'm not, sorry, I'm American, but we say we're. They're giving this guy a Humanitarian of the Year award for oh
mental health.
Guys, let's remember the tribeswomen of Baka and the abuse they went through.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly. What about their mental health?
Insane.
What about their mental health? You know, the
Exactly.
rapes, the torture, the pillaging that was overseen by Prince Harry's charity, and yet he can pick up that award. I mean, it truly is nuts. But look, you are so right to dig down into why this has happened and why his relatives and the courtiers, the men in grey suits who he hates so much, begged and pleaded with Prince Harry back at the start of 2020. And it was because they knew that he wasn't cut out for this, because he hadn't been doing any of the work. They had been doing the work. Who do you think had really been keeping Centre Bali and African parks and the Invictus Games afloat for the past decade? It was the courtiers, and they appreciated that that was their job. Their job was to make their principal look good, right? And he was a popular royal, so he would show up. And that's all he's ever done. Showing up, shaking some hands, played with some kids. That is what he was good at. And so that's why they didn't want him to go, because they foresaw all of this, not just the commercialization, but also the end of his good work, because his good work was never going to be able to be run appropriately by people who are in the commercial world, because people who are in the commercial world don't really give a damn about these charities. And personally, I don't think Harry does give a damn about Africa. Honestly, I know some people will think that is harsh, but when you think about what he has allowed to happen to both Centre Bali and African parks, and as you say, he hasn't said one word, not one word about African parks, despite being in this elevated position.
And he's still listed as the president. He's
Well,
still
he
listed
is.
as the president.
That's the thing.
There has been no accountability and no transparency with Harry.
Nope.
And and now there's rumblings that he's going to start his own African charity.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, how many more can we go?
Well, and also, who's going to fund that? No.
Exactly.
Who the heck is going to fund this?
Nobody's going to do that.
No, that's the problem. He's done. But that's what almost makes this more astonishing, right? Because it's like, African parks is your last chance, Harry. It's your last chance. And you've been doing nothing. As you say, you've been sitting in your underwear playing video games in the Montecito mansion. Like, you could have been spending days and days and days of this a month. You could have been in Africa time and again. But you're a lazy moron, because instead you've allowed this charity to collapse around you. And let's just remember the Unwell filings from a couple of years ago. 1 hour a week these two collectively spend on their humanitarian pursuits. 1 hour a week. That's what happens.
And they can fly to go see a premiere in Jamaica, so it's not like they don't have a problem jet setting. He can be in Africa as much as he wants to oversee all this, but he chooses not to. It's pretty obvious. The New York Times is onto him now. The second you lose the Times, you're done.
This is collapsing. This is collapsing, and he doesn't know what to do. So he just thinks, well, let's be silent. The thing is, it's a complicated story. It's a confusing story. It involves people in Africa. The irony is that he's actually hoping that means he gets away with this. By the way, I've got to ask you a bit more about this New York trip, though, because Nancy, as you pointed out, how on earth can they have so many fears about security when they actually released their own itinerary?
Yeah, I saw that. It was going around the Sussex Squad's Instagram pages, their fan clubs, yesterday, and I grabbed that, and they had no problem telling everybody the times, where they were going to be, the location, the exact location where they were going to be. Look, Dan, I think after her whole Paris stunt, showing herself walking through the hotel, her feet in real time, we knew exactly then where she was staying. She was at the Plaza. It's not hard to figure out those tiles. And then she doesn't care about her security. And I don't know how the heck Harry is going to bring on this case with the Daily Mail. Is it happening in a year? He wants to do this again, right? In the UK, there's absolutely no way they do. Oh, in January, they do not care about their security. Okay. You cannot care about your security and then put your steps in real time. It's impossible. And then give your itinerary in New York City. There is so many tensions going on in New York City right now. It's not the safest city to be in. I would not recommend it if you fear for your life in any way, shape, or form. There's so much politics going on right now. They're not going to care about Prince Harry. So if somebody did mean harm, people aren't going to be that aware of those two. So don't give your itinerary, especially if you have in my opinion, this is my opinion, a made up stalker that you're going to throw under the bus.
God, I know.
A Sussex squatty. That's my opinion.
I had to ask about this. Because it's almost like if there is no real security issue, and there's not, because by the way, Meghan Markle, and again, this is my opinion, but I believe that she was wanting a car chase in Paris. I believe that's why there was all of the real-time Instagram action that you were talking about. That's why the paparazzi were tipped off and briefed, because she wanted a car chase. She had her phone. She was ready to film. That would have made the Netflix documentary, the Diana one. She wanted it. And unfortunately, people didn't play ball because they're not stupid, but also because she just doesn't have the same level of fame as Diana did. It's like, we know we're going to get the Meghan pictures outside the hotel. We're not giving her what she wants. So that didn't work out. And then within hours, you've got Harry making this release to the Daily Telegraph in regards to his stalker. And I believe that this is a made-up stalker too, because what you actually have, and personally I find it bizarre, right? But he has some black women, fans, who bizarrely follow him all over the world, right? And we've seen it happen. They've gone to Nigeria. He's posed up with them. And does that make you weird? Well, yeah, I would argue if you were following Prince Harry all over the world, that probably does make you a bit of a strange person. Doesn't make you a security threat. By the way, can I just remind everyone that there was an actual Islamist terror attack in the United Kingdom last week? The police are prioritizing the actual threats. And so this pressure that then comes on the authorities and Charles and everyone with this leak, it's just like so wrong. But first, as I've entered my 40s, aging has become ever present in my life. My body doesn't back up the way it used to. And I've found that it's far easier to get injured when trying to work out, far harder to recover too. But I believe one of the best aging breakthroughs of the last decade is qualia senolytic. And I'm going to explain why. Senolytics are a science field revolutionizing human aging. A big culprit behind that middle-aged feeling can be so-called zombie cells that linger in your body after their useful function, wasting your energy and resources. Now, those zombie cells can lead to less energy, slower workout recovery, joint discomfort, and basically feeling old. Now, qualia senolytic is a groundbreaking, clinically tested supplement with 9 vegan plant-derived compounds that help your body naturally eliminate these zombie cells, helping you feel years younger in just months. But here's what I absolutely love about this product. You take it just 2 days a month, helping your body naturally eliminate zombie cells to age better at the cellular level. Now, since taking qualia senolytic, I've felt like I've turned back the clock. I have higher energy, less soreness after exercise, and a big boost in productivity too. That all equals feeling so much better. So experience the science of feeling younger by going to qualialife.com/Dan for up to 50% off your purchase. Use the code DAN, that's DAN, for an additional 15%. So that's QUALIA life.com/Dan for an extra 15% off your purchase. Your older self will thank you. And by the way, thanks to Qualia for sponsoring this episode. Now, let's get back to it.
We've all traced back these women too, because I call them a pack. They're always, they're always traveling together. But they are the same women that were attacking Tom Bauer at Invictus.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
we can't like say for sure,
Well,
but
I
we
mean,
think,
yeah.
yeah.
But it's the same
this is the
crew,
same-
isn't it?
same
It's the
group,
same
dude.
crew. Yeah.
Definitely the same crew, definitely the same crew. But this is something that they sort of stole from the Kardashians. Every time the Kardashians are in hot water, they make up a fake stalker.
I actually did a timeline of that, and Kendall Jenner did it after the Pepsi commercial. She actually said, "I have a stalker," right after the Pepsi scandal.
Yeah, and then the Pepsi
and then
went away.
Kim Kardashian did it right after Kanye West said slavery was a choice.
Yeah.
So it's like this weird ripple effect of like, okay, well, we have to get this out of the press, so we have to like put into a. I mean, Carrie's
but-
following the script.
Yeah, but see, that's what's so great is nobody's falling for it anymore.
No,
Nobody's falling for it. He doesn't have a stalker.
No, of course.
Good
And
Lord.
what he's doing is really belittling actual stalkers. And,
Yes.
Mylene Klass, who is a British celebrity, she actually gave evidence in court this week against her stalker, who was found guilty. It's like, Harry, if you have a stalker, rather than just using this as a PR stunt, then go through the actual processes. But this was a PR stunt, and it was a bad one. And I think it's actually, and I, know a lot of people will say this is unfair to King Charles, but it was another reason why King Charles was wrong to meet him, right? Because King Charles met him on the understanding that the security case was over and Harry wasn't going to raise it. But it's never over for Harry. This is never over. Have you noticed, until he gets his way on everything, he never moves on?
Well, we say get his way. I think he's trying to please Meghan. I mean, we're constantly saying like, "Oh, Harry."
No, we gotta stop giving him.
No, I
enough
know.
credit.
Now we should. But I mean, but are we not just? I mean, if
I'm
you're
sorry,
a victim of narcissist behavior,
No, he's a whiny little brat. I'm sorry, Stephanie, but
Yeah.
we've got to start throwing him under the bus too, because the problem is we always say, well, it's Meghan. And what, this guy is what, 40, 41? Come on.
Yeah, and I'm
No,
I'm not sure on the security side if it is Meghan. Like, definitely, don't get me wrong, on lots of the other shall we say obsessions, it's things that she has really evilly actually sort of made seep into his mind, like thoughts that he never had, right? Over many, many years. For example, things in terms of the relationship with William or how he really felt about his mother. But remember, on the security, it doesn't really benefit Meghan for Harry to have this as an ongoing obsession, because remember, she doesn't give a damn. She doesn't give a damn. She wants to be everywhere. And remember, all she wants is to be able to post those poor little children's faces on social media. But Harry is saying, no, the security. So don't get me wrong. She used the security when it suited her to do so. You know, when she was trying to paint a picture of, oh, your father doesn't really care about you. He probably wants you dead. But I think now she wants to move on from the security. But for Harry, it's like this ultimate bugbear, and it just will never go away. Because
Well,
as you
also,
say, if
it's
she
a
cared
whole-
about security, she wouldn't have been in Paris, posted in real time. And they certainly
Posting
wouldn't
in
be in New
real
York
time.
today.
Well, Dan, I mean, I'm sure you don't do that. We don't do
Nope.
that. And we're not at the level of her. Well, you might be, but not us. But we even know not to post in real time because it can be dangerous. I mean, there are so many nice people out there, but some do have bad intentions. But with the security, I think maybe it's half Harry's so used to it, he doesn't understand why he has to go through life without it. And then the other half is, this is a hole in his pocketbook. He has never had to pay for security before. It's expensive in the States. So he's probably like, why am I paying for this? Meghan, you made up this whole thing about us coming here. You wanted us here. We're here now. And what, we're not going to have security? I'm sure he's just not understanding the whole having to pay bills at the end of the month. I mean, that's what I think. I don't think
so
he's
too.
ever had to worry about it before. In my head, that's what I think. I don't know.
Now, look,
What do I know?
can we talk about the real piece of royal news today, which again is so sad that it's overshadowed by the terrible stunts of these two, because this is actually really personal for Catherine, the Princess of Wales, who has written a fascinating new essay for her royal foundation, warning of an epidemic of disconnection for families, really pinpointing that idea of technology. Now, she's done this in collaboration with Robert Waldinger, but they are her words alongside his. And this follows the Prince William Eugene Levy interview, where he was very clear that not just the children, because I think initially it was taken as, oh, the children just don't do screen time at dinner. But actually, that was never my reading of it. My reading of it is that no, George, Charlotte, and Louis don't have phones whatsoever. And so this is what Catherine has written, and it's really beautiful stuff. That the headline of the essay is "The Power of Human Connection in a Distracted World." And Catherine writes in part, "What keeps us happy and healthy as we go through life? If you could invest in just one thing that would help you and your family thrive, where would you put your time and energy?" These questions might seem simple, but their answers hold profound implications for how we live our lives and raise our children. Science gives us a surprisingly clear answer. The quality of our relationships matters more than almost anything else. The best predictor of who would live a happy, healthy life wasn't blood pressure, it wasn't cholesterol levels, it was the quality of connections with other people. The people who were more connected to others stayed healthier and were happier throughout their lives. And it wasn't simply about seeing more people each week. It was about having warmer, more meaningful connections. Quality trumped quantity in every measure that mattered. Teaching children to better understand both their inner and outer worlds sets them up for a lifetime of healthier, more fulfilling relationships. But if connection is the key to human thriving, we face a concerning reality. Every social trend is moving in the opposite direction. For the past 70 years, we have been investing less and less in each other. We are less likely to have dinner together as a family, something we know has an enormous impact on child development. We are less likely to have friends over. We are less likely to join clubs and community groups. Perhaps most troubling of all, more people than ever report having no one they can confide in about what is going on in their life. We live increasingly lonelier lives, which research shows is toxic to human health. And it's our young people, aged 16 to 24, that report being the loneliest of all. The very generation that should be forming the relationships that will sustain them through lives. While new technology has many benefits, we must also acknowledge that it plays a complex and often troubling role in this epidemic of disconnection. There is the phrase, which I think will go down in history, actually. While digital devices promises to keep us connected, they frequently do the opposite. Our smartphones, tablets, and computers have become sources of constant distraction, fragmenting our focus and preventing us from giving others the undivided attention that relationships required. We sit together in the same room while our minds are scattered across dozens of apps, notifications, and feeds. We're physically present, but mentally absent, unable to fully engage with the people right in front of us. This technological interference strikes at something fundamental. Our undivided attention is the most precious gift we can give another person, yet increasingly, it's the most difficult gift to offer. When we check our phones during conversations, scroll through social media during family dinners, or respond to emails while playing with our children, we're not just being distracted, we are withdrawing the basic form of love that human connections require. For parents, it means understanding that the foundations for this are laid at a remarkably young age. The evidence is clear. If you could invest in just one thing to help you and your family thrive, invest in the relationships you have with each other. And Sidley's, while I was reading that essay this morning, and by the way, it's very profound from Catherine. I mean, it does show you this cancer battle and the fact that for a while she thought that she might not survive. It really has changed her and made her so much braver in terms of sharing things that she previously wouldn't have. And I salute that. But it also just really made me think this is the role of a royal, right? And the role of a princess. And it made me realize just what Meghan and Harry have given up. Because while Catherine is saying to the world, all I want you to give is time to your loved ones. Think about what Harry and Meghan are asking for. money. Buy my product. Follow my social media page. And I just thought the contrast is very stark.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I love the end of it when she said, look people in the eye who you care about. And that's so important. You have to be close to those you love. And Megyn really did that in the beginning. She hosed Harry into thinking she never had a family. That's why on that radio program, he said she has the family that she never had with my family. So she really did play that aspect to him. Like, I want to be part of a family, and you have a family, and you have a dad, and you have a grandmother and a grandpa that love you. And now she's doing the exact same thing to her kids that she complained about growing up to Harry, where she didn't have a family. She then takes her kids away. The screen time with them is evident because when she first started posting them with the videos, you heard them doing the laughter in the background when they were helping her water. The minute you pull out a phone, I don't care how old that kid is, they know it's a screen. They know what it's doing. And I can only imagine the screen time that Harry and Meghan's kids have. But Princess Catherine, Princess of Wales, is really coming into her own because our generation, we never saw the potential that Princess Diana could have had in her 40s, in her later life. And the way Catherine, Princess of Wales, is conducting herself is just amazing. And she's going to be the best queen for the world, not just for the UK Commonwealth. And I think by doing things like this, she's really coming into her own and being separate from Prince William. And I just absolutely love it. And I also love the gray suit that she's wearing.
It's the gray suit.
Yeah, I do
love
love it. I love it.
And I, it is such a powerful message, isn't it? Because it doesn't cost a thing. And that's the point. And that's, I think Catherine is always so conscious that she needs to speak to everyone. And she knows how times are really tough, especially here in the United Kingdom. And so she's never suggesting go out and buy something or spend money or do this. It's all just about your time. Your time is your most valuable gift. It's something my mum would always have said, actually, and I really liked it. Thank you so much, Sidleys. And of course, if you do want full access to the Royal Uncancelled After Show, twice the length of what you've just watched, and indeed, in the next part, Nancy, Stephanie, and I are going to be getting into Meghan Markle's real evil, which has been revealed now over a number of years. Then sign up to my Substack, www.outspoken.live. Paid monthly or annual members get first access to the Royal Uncancelled After Show every weekday, and you can watch it either live or on demand at www.outspoken.live with no advertising whatsoever, which I know is what a lot of you have been asking for. Substack is also a free speech platform. It protects me from big tech cancellation. I would love you to be part of our community there. www.outspoken.live. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.